Hello everyone, so this is going to be an episode of review of 345. Now, this episode started out with Obito first waking up, and when he first woke up, he saw two white Zetsus, which one of them is the white Zetsu that we know of right now, and the other one was one that kind of had a face, but let's just say for what he had for a face was very identical to the orange mask that Toby/Obito ended up using later down the line as he got older, so we get a really great idea of what that design was based upon. And they end up talking to him, and things were a bit humorous at first, and some of the first things, believe it or not, they were talking about is poop, and about how, since a part of their white Zetsu is half of his body and has healed him, he doesn't have to poop or anything anymore, And then they were asking him, how was it like to actually poop? Because they haven't at all throughout their life. And it was quite funny to see that question. One of the things I'm actually interested in and I really, really wonder about, which we see throughout very many TV shows or animes or anything else, when someone, for whatever reason, doesn't need to eat or possibly drink in order to live, my question is, what if they actually do eat or drink? If this guy can't poop, then what happens if he tries to, eat food or something like that? Because even if it's good to be immortal or not need that stuff in order to live, it's still good to at least get a little taste of something every now and then. It is. That's probably just me just going into it a little bit too much, but that's still a good question. And one of the things they were teasing him about is that when he first woke up, or when he was sleeping, he was talking about Rin and stupid Kakashi. Not just Kakashi, but stupid Kakashi. And they're asking him, what is that stupid Kakashi? And they didn't say who, they said, what is, stupid Kakashi? And, Obito was still so focused on Rin and everything. And as he was trying to get up and everything and try to get out, he got told by the White Zetsus that, Madara, while he was sleeping, ended up sealing up the doorway with a big giant boulder. It was huge. It was at least 10 or probably 100 times bigger than Obito. So a little bit later, as we see, throughout the years, which I'm pretty sure it's probably around 2 to 4 years, not sure exactly, but he ended up doing a lot of training. It started out with just some simple walking around, and then some meditating and keeping things balanced on his head, being able to jump up in the air and do flips, and all this stuff, so then he could move his body fully functional and well, and eventually end up having an arm. I don't know if White Zetsu's added more, in order to form an arm, or if he somehow grew one over time or something, or maybe the stuff adjusted to his body over time, so it, got a good idea of what his arm would be shaped like and stuff. And one of the things that ended up happening a little bit later is, as he got older, one of the things I still find a little bit, I guess you could say, weird, is that as he got older, his hair got really long and really wide, and it was getting to the point where, it may be just me, but it was looking a lot like Madara. Ironically enough, his hair was really starting to make him look a little bit like Madara, so it was a little bit crazy. And as he woke up years later, he ended up getting notified by the White Zetsus that apparently Kakashi and Rin have been attacked, and they're surrounded by, ninjas in the Hidden Mist, I believe it was. And I'm still wondering exactly how they knew who they were, because of course, as I told you earlier, they were asking what is stupid Kakashi, which they probably ended up doing some investigating later on, but hopefully they'll come back to it and at least explain things a little bit more, because it's still kind of weird how they know. And he did end up asking them about the yellow flash, so there is a very good chance that he ended up telling them or describing them to him, or they end up doing some investigating in order to find out who these people are. So there's a very high chance of that, for the simple fact that he asked about that. When he was about to leave, he ended up getting to the big giant boulder that Madara put there that was in the way of the doorway, and he ended up hitting it, and then his arm ended up just disintegrating and falling and hitting the ground. And then the White Zetsu that had the weird kind of looking face, or what it had for a face, that still is pretty much what we got the idea from for the orange mask that Toby/Obito ended up using later down the line. He offered to kind of become him, or come over him, kind of like a piece of armor all around his body, and to help make him stronger and that kind of stuff, be able to move better. And then right when that happened, which he had this little line thing from the back of his head attached to the statue, he ended up, taking just a little bit of chakra, and then he just punched that thing and just destroyed it into so many pieces. So just getting a little bit of chakra from that thing is more than enough to just destroy a big giant boulder like that. And as he was on his way out there, one of the things he mentioned is that since he has some of the first Hokage's DNA and power, apparently when Uchiha member and that come together, it forms an even stronger power than them two just side by side, and it's just making the power just beyond belief. And when he started getting the idea, and as he was really just rushed into the battlefield, he really wanted to get to Ren and Kakashi. When he got there, the first thing he saw was Ren getting stabbed by Kakashi. And even though the animation, was good and everything like that, I still felt like they kind of blurred things out a little bit too much because there was like white backgrounds and it was kind of like a circle and you could see Ren and Kakashi in there, but everything else is like blurred out and that kind of stuff. And we did hear a couple of words here and there. We did hear some of the other ninja being like, dang it, we worked so hard to try to capture her. So Obito probably understands and knows why, they were trying to capture her, and maybe can understand why Kakashi had to kill her, because it would have not been a good thing if he would have, just let her get captured. It was just going to be a bad thing. But he does understand the situations, but still, I think that would at least, give him somewhat of an idea of, why Kakashi did this. Right as Kakashi got done stabbing through her, he just collapsed right after she did. And right before he collapsed, his eye ended up just changing. And the strange thing was that on Obito's way to get to this battlefield, he ended up getting just little bitty flashes of what Kakashi was seeing. And then all of a sudden, just Obito just raged, and he unleashed his power of just the, the Senju DNA and the Uchiha power. And oh my gosh, when I say this, wow. He suddenly got insanely strong just for a little kid. He really did. And the animation and the fighting, and when he ended up just destroying all those ninjas. At one point when he attacked one of the guys, I noticed he did like a hand jutsu. And I was like, hold on. In his training, at least from what we saw, he did not know how to do any of that kind of stuff. So there's a little bit of skepticism of like how that happens or anything like that. And this makes me feel like, maybe the White Zetsu was in partial control of his, movements when he was fighting them and everything. And just seeing him fighting like this and having, his power awaken with his eyes, especially at this young, honestly. I mean, look at, Sasuke. He's noticeably older and, it took him so many years to get his power awakened. But I guess all it took was really for Rin to die, just like Naruto when he was going against Pain, and when he saw Hinata die, or at least when he thought she died, his power just awakened. So this was, Obito's way of kind of having that happen to him. And just, I must say that this episode was pretty good overall, and I must say that I still feel like, there was some humor in it, which is usually good, at least most of the time. And the poop thing, I still kind of wonder about that. And there's still some questions and everything. And I feel like half the episode, the very first half, was very slow-paced. And then the second half was very fast-paced. Like, a little bit too fast-paced. I feel like there's a lot of unknown details that they might be leaving out or something like that. But at least they got a pretty good amount of the most important stuff in there, that's for sure. They did a pretty good job, and most of these are things that they can just easily come back to or something like that. They can probably just do it all in just one episode real easily and stuff like that. But I feel like they probably worked on half the episode first, and then came back and then worked on the second half or something like that. I don't feel like they did it in one try or anything like that. So I'd give this episode a 4.4 out of 5. I feel like, last week's probably should have gotten a 4.6, but I still get a 4.3. And this was a good episode overall. They did a great job on the action. I still think the pacing and the animation could have at least done a bit better to blend in together. Still feels like they didn't quite, do that work on the episode at a good pace or anything like that, or the timing was off, which probably makes sense because there was that one time when, they ended up making us wait an extra week in order to get one episode. So it probably has something to do with their work schedule. And there was still a couple of, unanswered questions and everything, but they ended up doing a still pretty good job on everything else overall. They're not the most biggest questions in the world. They really aren't. Compared to most times when we've had questions that we just really start, like, oh, what's going on? Or we just start really freaking out or wondering about. These aren't like the biggest questions really, but they still can at least be somewhat useful, you know what I mean? But, that's, again, what fillers and other things are for. But anyways, that's it for this video. Sorry for this being a little bit longer than most videos are, but thank you guys again for watching. And also, I will be doing a review possibly on Cardfight Vanguard. I'm not sure. I still need to catch up on Attack on Titan, which I'm probably going to be spending today catching up on it. And for Cardfight Vanguard, I might do a review of it or not. I'm not sure. Really, just tell me guys what you think, if I should do it or not. If not, then I guess I just won't. And if I do, then you'll probably be seeing it very soon, probably later today, because I'm probably going to watch it here pretty soon. If not, then I'll probably end up going to sleep, because even though it's bright outside, yeah, I need to go to sleep. So thank you guys again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.